Matt Joseph easily took the 2020 college football crown at Sports Memo, picking up plus 71% in profit for his clients, winning 62% of his college selections with a final record of 98, 59, and 3. For unlimited time, you can get the first 4 college football weekends starting on Saturday, August 28, 2021, and running through Saturday, September 25, 2021, for only $149 versus a regular price of $330. As an added bonus, we'll include any NFL side, total, or prop plays Matt releases during this time at no additional charge.
Welcome into First Pitch, WagerTalk's premier MLB betting show for Thursday, August 12th. I am Drew Martin, your host, joined by the heavy hitters today, Marco D'Angelo and Dave Cokin of WagerTalk.com. We got 4 games on the docket, best bets at the end. Huge shout out to the chat box, everybody joining us live. Joe, David, Juan, all welcome in. Patrick as well. Feel free to chime in live in the chat box on the WagerTalk YouTube. First up here, Marco D'Angelo. He's hot right now, 22-6 run. Marco, glad to have you on Thursdays. Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, Drew, glad to be here. And yeah, it's been an incredible run. Knock on wood, let's keep it rolling along. And easy winner last night for our top play as we had the Boston Red Sox. Dave's hometown team, the Red Sox, so many moons ago his hometown team, but he still follows them. They put up a 20 spot last night. Those are fun. Made having a steak dinner last night rather enjoyable as I saw that first score pop up.
Oh, absolutely. That always feels nice, Marco. And you mentioned Dave there. As you're up, 42% bankroll increase? We got Dave plus 47% bankroll increase this MLB season, plus 140 winner on the underdog last night. Dave, welcome into the show, buddy.
Yeah, the up-to-date numbers for 2021. This is every play I've made in 2021, including the crappy college basketball season that I had. It was not a good season in college basketball. But if you've played every game the way I've given them out in 2021, you're now up 175.38 units. That's a lot. I mean, that is a lot. We'll try and keep it going. I played 3 games today. One of them is in progress right now. One goes this afternoon. One goes this evening, and I'll talk about that game on the show today. Last night was very enjoyable, a plus 140. First 5 play on the Indians. They eventually lost the game, but I don't care about that because they won the first 5. So Marco enjoyed his steak, and I enjoyed my veal marsala.
Absolutely. Always nice to catch the winners, Dave. And guys, we got first game up here. Heading to the ATL, Cincinnati Reds, Atlanta Braves, Gutierrez versus Mueller, the lefty, going for the Bravos. Minus 145 home favorites here, Marco. Total of 10. This is a happy hour special, guys. Note that it is a 5:10 Eastern, 2:10 Pacific start. Hot day, 88 degrees projected in Atlanta, Marco. 3-game losing streak for Cincinnati, 3-game winning streak for Atlanta. Tied in first now in the NL East. What do you like in Reds and Braves tonight, Marco?
Yeah, the Cincinnati Reds, as you said, a 3-game losing streak. And I'm more concerned about the way they lost last night's game. You got to wonder about their mental state of mind. They were down 5-0, and they came back and tied the game up in the 9th inning and sent it into extra innings. And, you know, we've seen that script how many times. The team gets the momentum, comes from behind, ties it up, goes into extra innings. Usually that team's going to come out on top. And they did score in extra innings to take the 6-5 lead. However, that bullpen once again let the Reds down, losing, giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the inning and end up an 8-6 loser. And I just can't back them. The starting pitching in this one is good for both teams. Both pitchers are pitching well. But right now, I just don't trust the Reds as a team. Atlanta's playing well. You said they won 3 in a row. They've also won 7 of their last 8 games, and they're scoring a ton of runs. They've scored 5 runs or more in 8 of their last 11 games. This is just a lean for me, but I got to look at Atlanta, throw one stat at you. They're 49-28 when they are a favorite of 150 or less the last 2 seasons. Pretty strong numbers. I lean to Atlanta and the momentum.
I'm with you, Marco, especially because this Atlanta bullpen has performed a lot better. It has a lot to do with their winning streak being tied in first now in the NL East with the Phillies. Dave, are you liking anything in the ATL tonight?
Well, the Braves did some good things at the deadline. It looked like, boy, this season might be getting away from him. Big disappointment. Then Acuna gets hurt and he's out for the year. And it's like, well, wait till next year. But the Braves didn't take that approach, went out and picked up some bodies that can help at the deadline. And one of those was Richard Rodriguez, which really strengthens the back end of their bullpen because he's a good closer. And he's accepted the role of being the setup guy for Will Smith now. So all of a sudden, what had been an area of concern for the Braves has become an area of strength. Last night, it looks like the Reds are going to win the game. I mean, they're in position to do so. They take the 6-5 lead, as Marco mentioned, in the extra innings. Lucas Sims is in position to wrap it up. They've only got the one guy on with 2 outs. And you walk a guy you can't walk. And then Albies comes up and just completely obliterates a ball. And that's the ball game. It's tough to come back from that. You've got 7-3 on the mound for Gutierrez, 2-3 for Muller. But if you break down the numbers, there's another example of why wins and losses are something that I didn't even realize it was 7-3 versus 2-3 until I was watching the Mets game this morning before I came on here. And that's the records they flash. And it's like, because Muller's got better numbers than Gutierrez, and the Braves had the momentum. So I think you make a case for Atlanta here. The only thing that kept me off the game is the price. I did consider a first 5 minus a half run, but decided there were better options and left it alone. But I would definitely lean the Braves' way as well.
All right, maybe 3 leans here towards the Braves as we got next game up here, guys. Prime time, nationally televised game. We're actually heading to the state of Iowa for the first Major League Baseball game ever played in the state of Iowa. We're heading to the cornfield in Dyersville, Iowa, 8,000 seat stadium. 335 to the lines, 380 in the gaps, 400 to center field. And of course, I'm saying this because this is the Field of Dreams game here, Dave, where they're playing one game, the Yankees versus the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox throwing Lance Lynn on the hill. Andrew Heaney going for the Yankees is what I'm seeing. 9.5 being the total. Looks like minus 165 favorite. Of course, you can shop around for different prices here. Looking at the Wager Talk odds screen, Chicago White Sox in New York Yankees, 86 degrees, nationally televised game here, primetime, Dave. You liking anything in the state of Iowa?
Yeah, that's an exciting day in baseball because you got action all day long. You've got day games, you got an afternoon game, then you got the Field of Dreams game, which really is going to be a terrific event, and they can cap it off with Barrios versus Ohtani as the Blue Jays take on the Angels. That's a good late night game, and I'll talk about that game in a little bit because it's my best bet on the show. It's actually a bet I made. This game is not a bet I made. I was considering this, although I was going in with some caution. If this game were a typical home game for the White Sox, I would definitely be on the White Sox here in some way because he's just not very good, okay? He's just prone to big innings. He can give up a long ball. This looks like a park that might yield some home runs. And Heaney's a guy that I don't mind going against. And Lance Lynn he's Lance Lynn. He goes out there and just adds and subtracts on the fastball. It's basically all he throws. Everything else is just a showcase pitch. And he gets the job done. So it does point to Lynn here. What concerns me, it is kind of a pomp and circumstance game. There's going to be a lot of distractions. They're playing in a ballpark it's obviously not a major league ballpark. I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have. It should be exciting for the players involved, I would think, and certainly for those lucky enough to actually have a ticket to watch the game, because with 8,000 tickets only available, there's all good seats for this game. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. My lean would be the White Sox. It's my play, if I had to make one, would be minus half run in the first 5, just on the Lynn versus Heaney matchup, but it's priced a little too high for me. I almost never go above 120, 125. 130 is the absolute cutoff for me on a first 5 minus a half run, so it's above that, and I'm not going to play it. But, I mean, just on paper, it looks like Lynn over Heaney should get you to the winner's circle.
Yeah, and Marco, coming to you next. I was picking up a lot of what Dave was laying down there. I'm really excited for tonight's MLB card. Ohtani going in the late night. We get this game in Iowa, Field of Dreams. It kind of sets up well for MLB. And to Dave's point, this is actually, according to TixFix, the most expensive average ticket price in Major League Baseball regular season history. Only 8,000 seats. I would kind of compare it to a minor league stadium, maybe like Mexican League baseball stadium. But it is kind of, to Dave's point, a little bit tricky to handicap. How is that going to affect baseball players? As a sports bettor, I think one of the best ways to win, interested in your opinion on this, is to find change and go from that point forward, because the odds makers have less to make their numbers off of. And sure enough, we get location change here. This is only one game. They're taking tomorrow off and they're going to Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago on Saturday. So we only get one chance to kind of bet this type of game. Are you involved here with the Yankees and White Sox tonight, Marco?
Yeah, I definitely am involved in this one. And, you're looking at a price here. Obviously, the White Sox have been the better team all season long. You're seeing that in the price. But because this is a nationally televised game and all the pomp and circumstances you said with the game, there's going to be people that are going to look and see the Yankees as a sizable dog and just say, hey, I can't pass that up, and they're going to take a look at it. Dave talked about Andrew Haney. This was a pickup at the trade deadline. It had me scratching what little hair I had left on my head, why the Yankees went out and picked this guy up, because as Dave said, he has been nothing all season long. He gives up the big innings, gives up the long ball. I don't know. I mean, I know they needed a pitcher, and, left-handed pitching is always a commodity, but this guy just doesn't do it for me. On the flip side, is there a guy that flies more under the radar than Lance Lynn? He's a consistent pitcher year in and year out, does the same stuff, but he's not flashy. He just doesn't get the national attention as, some of the other pitchers, and I'm not going to fade him. And one of the things that I like about this game, and that the teams are going to be pumped up, the White Sox originally had Lance Lynn scheduled to pitch yesterday, and they pushed him back in the rotation for this game. That is a big indicator for me. They want this game. And if you look at the pitching matchup, as Dave said, there's no comparison between these two starting pitchers. So I'm going to look at the first five. Is it an unknown with the ballpark? Absolutely. But it's an unknown for both teams. So I still got to trust the numbers that I'm looking at, and all of the numbers tell me that Lance Lynn and the White Sox have a decisive edge. And if you start to get excited and point out that the Yankees are playing good baseball right now, which they are, they've won 10 of their last 13 games, and saying, all right, here comes that Yankee run, I want to point out that winning streak of 10-3 came against Miami, Baltimore, Seattle, and Kansas City. Only Seattle has a winning record out of that bunch, and Seattle played New York in New York. If you look at the other three teams during that streak, they're a combined 135 wins and 204 losses. So the strength of schedule was definitely in the advantage to the Yankees during that run. I'll take the team that's been good all year. I'll take the pitcher that's been good all year, and I will go first 5 innings, take the bullpens out of the equation, and take the White Sox minus the half. And yes, it's a little bit juiced more than a normal first 5 minus a half, but I think it's worth it considering the mismatch between the two pitchers.
Great breakdown, Marco. Another tidbit here. Lance Lynn has actually not faced the Yankees as a White Sox. Last time as a White Sox, he hasn't faced them actually since being on Texas in 2019. So that might be another advantage for the righty starter for the White Sox. So maybe laying the wood here with the Sox in the Field of Dreams game. We got third game up, talking about a good one here. Ohtani and Barrios, the Toronto Blue Jays and the LA Angels, 9:40 Eastern, 6:40 Pacific start here, Marco. We get a minus 130 favorite with the Blue Jays, 8.5 being the total in Anaheim. You liking anything here late night?
Yeah, this is a tough ball game for me. I looked at this one a lot, and I can make a strong case for both sides. And the strong case for both sides is if you want to look at this game as a 5-inning wager, I like one side. If you want to look at this game for a full game wager, I like the other side. And what I'm talking about is Ohtani's been outstanding. He had that one bad start where he got rocked. I think he gave up 6 or 7, maybe 8 runs. I don't remember what it was, but it was a bad outing. But you take everything else that this guy has done. He is ultra consistent. They're always going to watch pitch counts with him. So you don't want to go full game with him because he's not going to go the full game. And at some point, you're going to get that Angel bullpen, which is just an absolute, I don't trust them. They come in more often than not and pour gasoline on a fire instead of putting it out. And then you look at the Toronto Blue Jays. If I'm going to look at them, I'm going to look at them for the full game. This is a team that's scoring runs. This is a team that is playing good baseball right now. And they got that shot of adrenaline when they went back home to play in Toronto for the first time in over a year. Yeah, they played some teams that weren't playing well. They faced Kansas City. They faced Boston during that when Boston was in their slump. But this team is scoring runs. And if you look at Major League Baseball, the teams with the biggest run differential, you've got Toronto right up there among the leaders. They're plus 124 on the season. So for me, I do lean to Toronto full game, but I could also look at, if I wanted to play this first 5, the Angels are attractive with Ohtani on there because he's definitely pitched better and more consistent than Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays. So there you have it. Full game Toronto is my official lean, but I could definitely make a case for first 5 Angels as well.
Yeah, Blue Jays with the better bullpen for sure here, Dave. But heck, we talked about it. We teased it at the beginning of the show here, Dave. I know you're excited to see Ohtani on the hill. What are you liking tonight in Anaheim?
Well, I did make a play on this game. It's the game I used as a free play because I knew we were going to talk about it here. So, I'm not going to. My business acumen says don't sell something you're going to give away for free. That's probably not going to sell many. So I just made it the free play. The game fits the criteria that I use for underdogs on starting pitching. And I have 3 key categories, which I won't tell you what they are because that's my stuff. But I have 3 key categories. And if the underdog, just on starting pitchers, if the underdog comes up with a check mark on all 3, it's a bet. And I just leave it at that point. Talked about this earlier on Wager Talk today. You can overcomplicate things by fine-tuning too much. And if you do so, you'll end up with no plays. You really legitimately will end up guessing because you don't have a set routine that you follow. So I don't overanalyze these games. Ohtani gets the 3 check marks against Barrios, and he is an underdog, so it's a play for me. Now, they aren't check marks by a big margin because Barrios is a very good pitcher, and the Blue Jays are playing great baseball right now. They're not in the playoffs as of now, but I think if you were to ask anybody who follows baseball somewhat closely as to whether the Blue Jays are one of the playoff caliber teams in the American League, I don't know anybody who would say no at this point. Their offense is lethal. Their pitching has improved. The bullpen's gotten better. They're a good baseball team right now. They're clearly a better team than the Angels. But again, it goes down to starting pitching for me. That's the way I've been handicapping now for quite some time. It's always been the way I've handicapped in baseball, but it's become even more so in the past couple of years because of the fact that I don't trust any bullpens. First 5 Angels at plus 105 is a play for me.
All right, good stuff, Dave. Loving the breakdowns here from Marco D'Angelo, Dave Cokin, both hot right now in terms of units or bankroll increase. Dave up over 40, and Marco as well on that 22-6 run to boot. So check them both out. WagerTalk.com, experts page, Dave Cokin, and experts page, Marco D'Angelo. As we head to the nightcap here in San Francisco, NL West game. Dave, we get Marquez going for the Rockies. This Rockies offense is hot, but some of those numbers were at home. Now they are on the road. Logan Webb going for the San Francisco Giants, 9:45 Eastern. Looks like 11-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to center, 62 degrees, minus 190 favorites. That's the San Francisco Giants at home. Low total here, Dave. 7.5 being the total. You liking anything in San Fran tonight?
Well, I can see why the total's low because Marquez is having a great year for the Rockies. And, wow, as Logan Webb turned it on for the Giants, the Giants don't get nearly the attention they deserve based on the fact they've got the best record out there. It's 73-41 now. Their over and under win prop was roughly 74.5. They're going to go over that, and it's not even halfway through April. I mean, that's tremendous. Gabe Kapler is a runaway for Manager of the Year if the season ends today. The Rockies, the attractive part here for the Rockies is you have the opportunity to get Marquez at a really big price. Obviously, you would only want to do that for the first 5 as the Giants have a substantial edge in the bullpen. But I can't do it based on a couple of things. One is that the Rockies just continue to absolutely suck beyond belief on the road. They're very, very good home. They're actually one of the best home teams in baseball this year, but they are a miserable road team. And on top of that, now they've lost a key component. Raimel Tapia, again, he's on the Rockies, so he doesn't get, and he's not a big power hitter or anything like that, so he doesn't get much attention from casual fans. This guy's had a good year. He's a good leadoff hitter, and he is now out. He's going on it's a big hit to an offense that doesn't score much on the road anyway. I didn't bet this game, but if I were going to look at it, I'd consider the under, and I guess I'd have to consider Giants on the runs line. Those would be the two approaches I would take in this game.
Yeah, good point with the leadoff hitter being out for the Rocks, Dave. He is a good player. Marco, I kind of take a piece from what Dave said. I was looking towards the Giants -1 line. I don't like laying the 1.5 with the home team not getting that final at bat. But -1 on the Giants was where I was looking, mainly because look at these home road splits, Marco. The Giants at home are 37-17. That is great home team baseball. And the Colorado Rockies on the road are 13-42. That's the worst I've ever seen. So just a good home team versus a terrible road team. The Giants being at home, I'm finding ways to get on the Giants. I just don't like laying -190 here, Marco. What are you thinking late night?
Yeah, I don't like laying the 190 either. There's different ways to approach this game. Normally, I would look to try to find a 5-inning wager, which brings the line down significantly. But in this instance, you don't want to do that because Marquez is pitching so well. Looking at the run line, the only thing I would say is you're looking at laying a run and a half in a game that only has a total of 7.5. That's not something that I generally are comfortable with. Because, it's 7.5 because we got a good pitcher on the mound, but the other team does too. So runs should be at a premium in this game. I don't want to have to win by 2. So what are my options? You said one way, Drew, getting the -1 line is a way to do it. But for me, I just, make it simple. See if I can find a team, and I've had success with this year. In fact, one of my plays last night was I hooked up 2 decent-sized favorites in a money line parlay, which makes it almost, an even money wager, on the return. That's the way to do it because then, the math is still the same. It's always going to be the same. It's -190. The only difference is you're not risking 190 to win 100 in a money line parlay. And that's what I would look with San Francisco. This is a team that's 9-2 their last 11 games. In the 9 wins, they scored 5 runs or more. So if this wasn't a low total, I would feel very comfortable laying the 1.5. The 2 games that they did lose, they lost 2-1 and 3-1. Pitching duels. And this is a game that's telling us that this should be a pitching duel based on the total. So for me, I have the lean to San Francisco. I will not lay the 190. If I find another team I'm comfortable with, I'll hook it in a money line parlay. That's the only way I look at this one with San Francisco. But again, there's no way I'm stepping in front of the Giants the way they're playing right now. In Colorado, that road record, as you said, is just atrocious. In the recent winning streak, just like I pointed out with the Yankees, the winning streak for Colorado, not only was it at home, it was against the Cubs and Miami. Miami's bad. In the Cubs, since the trade deadline, and they got rid of everybody, you can't bet the Cubs right now. So they're not a good team. They're not scoring runs. And as Dave said, with the leadoff guy out of the lineup, the first 2 road games of the road trip, they've scored a grand total of 1 run. Have the Rockies. So that's a problem there as well. But that's a lot for a game that you're only getting a lean. But that's the way I break it down.
Yeah, no, that's great, Marco. The information is key for part of this show. We got questions here in the chat box. Joe saying, Dave, can you elaborate on why you think there's such a difference in home and road with the Rockies? Of course, Joe, you got to remember, if you're new to sports betting, new to baseball, welcome into the show. We're here to help you to find more winners than losers. But part of the reason being, Colorado's playing a mile high. And when they go on the road, like especially to a coastal town like San Francisco, that is just a huge difference. The ball moves different coming out of the pitcher's hands. The ball flies different as well. And Dave, he mentioned the question towards you. Did you want to elaborate on that at all, or just move to best bet?
Yeah, their starting pitching at home has been sensational, which you wouldn't expect. But their starting rotation has been fantastic at home. The other thing is, you think, well, if you're the Rockies, you want to build a power-laden team because of the way the ball travels out there. I never bought into that. I actually like their configuration for their home ballpark. The outfield is huge there. It's really a gap-to-gap ballpark. It is a doubles and triples haven. You obviously can hit the home runs, but their lineup is actually configured pretty nicely for that ballpark because they don't have much power, but they've got guys who hit gap-to-gap, and they're really good fits for that ballpark. They just hit the alleys and start running. But it's primarily been the pitching. The weird thing on the Rockies, I'm going to lose my full season over and under wins prop on them. I played under. They're 13-42, and I'm going to get killed on it because I've got no chance to win that. The good news, by the way, is I have my first ever 5% future play. Only one I've ever made that I graded 5% was the Texas Rangers under 67.5 wins. They're at 40 right now. I kind of like my position on that one, but I'm not going to win the Rockies one. They're a fun team at home, but that offense that plays so well in that ballpark, because it is gap to gap, doesn't play so well on the road where you got to hit the ball out of the park, and they just don't have, outside of C.J. Cron and Hilliard if he makes contact, they just don't have guys that can get the ball out of the park.
Good stuff, Dave. And Rara in the chat box about this game saying Marquez is 4-7 when against San Francisco with an ERA
doesn't mean
of
anything.
6.68.
Yeah, okay. I give you a tip. Career records, they don't mean shit, okay? It's just forget about it. I don't even look at it. I literally don't even look at it. It's 1 year is completely different from all the rest. I mean, if you look at Jake Arrieta's career records against basically any team he faced, well, geez, pretty good. The Cubs finally got rid of him today. They released him this morning. And I'm not saying that's, not Marquez isn't Arrieta, okay? Obviously, he's a good pitcher. But that record includes years where Marquez wasn't pitching anywhere near the level he's been pitching this year. Guy's a legitimate all-star this year. What years, when he compiled those records against the Giants, was he a legitimate all-star? I think the answer to that would be none. Past performance in baseball, it's just, look, if you do well doing that stuff, don't stop doing it because I tell you to. But for me, it's a recency sport. Okay, I'm much more interested in what's happened in the last 2 weeks than the last 2 or 3 or 4 or 8 years. I don't care about that stuff. It's a recency sport. A lot of sports are like that. I mean, really are. That's why, career goalie numbers always crack me up in hockey. It's like, well, this guy's, Rask is 15-2 against so. What is he this year? What's he been doing lately? What's his current form? Current form is what it's all about. And any long-term baseball winner will tell you it's a current form sport.
Good stuff, Dave. I agree with a lot of what you said. And Rod, thanks for the information. Information does help. But and also the chat box here. We got different guys watching from all over here. We got Alaska in the house. Welcome in. We got Jose Sanchez down in Nicaragua. Bienvenidos, Jose. So all different kinds of watchers. Thanks for joining us from all over the world, really, guys, as we head to best bets here, the moment you've all been waiting for. I'll start us off in a game we just talked about, Toronto Blue Jays, LA Angels. I like the Blue Jays here. Barrios talking about recency. Dave just talked about it. He's been hot right now. We also saw some guys in the chat box talking about change of scenery for Barrios has been very good. He's been pitching very well for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays against righties, the second best weighted runs created plus number in MLB. They're getting a righty here in Ohtani. Now, Ohtani's been good. We talked about that before, but Berrios, I would say even on that same level, if not better. 1 earned run in his last 3 starts, 19 innings, 17 strikeouts, only 1 walk. We get the better bullpen as well, the much better bullpen. So I will take the Toronto Blue Jays and their plus 132 run differential on the season, winning 2 straight, by the way, coming into this against the LA Angels, losing 2 straight in a bottom 5 lineup in the last week in terms of how they're seeing the ball. So that's late night. I'm on the Blue Jays, minus 130 for my best bet. Dave Cokin, where are you heading for best bets today, buddy?
Opposite side, but only for the first 5. And I do think, look, Berrios is pitching great ball. I completely agree that the change of scenery did him good because he went from a team that was supposed to be pretty good this year, but flopped badly and was completely out of things in the Twins, to a team that's got a chance to make the playoffs, and he's surrounded by an offensive juggernaut. They are a dangerous baseball team. But, boy, those Ohtani numbers at home are absolutely fantastic. ERA well under 2. OPS just a tick over 500 at home. He's in excellent form. I think this is a pitcher's duel early on. I might regret not playing the first 5 under, but I tend to go underdog when I've got those check marks. So I took plus 105 for the first 5 innings with the Angels and Ohtani.
All right, so hopefully the Angels are winning after 5, and then the Blue Jays come back in the later innings. We cash both of these. Marco D'Angelo, sending it over to you to close us out for best bets.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Detroit-Baltimore game, and not physically. You couldn't pay me to go to a Detroit-Baltimore game. But I'm going to look at this one, and I'm going to make a reference here. You guys know I got a big background with horse racing, and I like to make references a lot of time with starting pitchers, and I look at their charted lines from their starts, and I read it just like I read the racing form. Horses go in and out of form cycles, okay? Well, this one's simple. Well, when you read the racing form for the Matt Manning, the starter for Detroit, he's been bad all year, okay? There's nothing good about him, and he's getting drilled right now. Last 3 starts got an ERA of 7.36 and a whip of 1.70. Now, where I'm really looking at, though, is John Means for Baltimore. This is a guy that had a sensational start to the season. Then he went on the DL back on June 5th. Didn't come back until July, but when he came back on July 20th, his first 2 starts, not good, wasn't there yet, but just like a horse, you start to see signs of him rounding back into form. In the old form cycle for horse racing is the 3rd start off a layoff. Well, if you go to that 3rd start off of the layoff with him, and it was against Detroit, he went 6 innings, 1 run in that game, struck out 6, and then in his last outing, 5 innings, 2 runs, only 1 earned, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. 11-2 strikeout to walk ratio in his last 11 innings pitched, only allowed 2 earned runs. He is definitely coming back into the form cycle, and that's what you look for. And because he's on a Baltimore team that's lost how many games in a row now, what is it, 6 or 7, something like that, you're getting value. But I'm not going to go full game because he's still watching the pitch count with him. First 5, that's the way to go. They're playing poorly. You're going to get a decent price with it. I'll lay the half a run with the Baltimore Orioles, first 5 innings. And then after he leaves the game, they'll probably collapse with that bullpen of theirs and see a slugfest late. But we're only worried about the first 5, and that's the beauty of first 5 inning wagers is you're getting starting pitcher versus starting pitcher. It's as close to old school baseball as you could get whenever the managers used to hand the ball to a pitcher and he stayed out there. You know, if it isn't broke, you don't fix it. You leave him out there till his arm's ready to fall out and then bring the closer in for 1 inning instead of what we see now where you got to get through 3 different guys to get to the finish line and have them all do their job correctly. So long-winded, but first 5, Baltimore -0.5.
Yeah, by the way, Miguel Cabrera will not, unless he pinch hits, will not get the milestone home run today because he's being given the day off. Day game following a night game, not surprising. No Miggy in the lineup for the Tigers.
All right, good stuff, guys. 4 best bets. In recap here before we shut it down, we got the Toronto Blue Jays. -130 is my best bet. Marco D'Angelo, Orioles, first 5, minus that half a run, -127. And Dave Cokin, Angels, +105. That is in the first 5, guys. Note, with the asterisk, Dave's play is the first 5, Angels, +105. So for Dave Cokin, Marco D'Angelo, I am Drew Martin, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash that like button on your way out. Check out WagerTalk.com, both Marco and Dave Cokin. And we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. So best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Matt Joseph easily took the 2020 college football crown at Sports Memo, picking up +71% in profit for his clients, winning 62% of his college selections with a final record of 98, 59, and 3. For unlimited time, you can get the first 4 college football weekends starting on Saturday, August 28, 2021, and running through Saturday, September 25th, 2021, for only $149 versus a regular price of $330. As an added bonus, we'll include any NFL side, total, or prop plays Matt releases during this time at no additional charge.